Welcome back to my online class. I am Dr. Lecturer, Department of English, School and College. This class is for the students of class 11 and 12. Today, we will learn a lesson from English for today. Our today's lesson is Lesson 1 from Unit 6. So, let us begin. Unit 6, Adolescence. Lesson 1, the storm and stress of adolescence. Lesson plan. In this lesson, we will be reading the text, learn some word meanings, and we will be answering some questions. First of all, let us read the text below and answer the questions that follow. Paragraph 1. Children must pass through several stages in their lives to become adults. For most people, there are 4 or 5 such stages of growth where they learn certain things. Infancy, birth to age 2, early childhood, age 3 to 8 years, later childhood, age 9 to 12 years, and adolescence, age 13 to 18 years. Persons 18 and over are considered adults in our society. Of course, there are some who will try to act older than their years, but for the most part, most individuals have to go through these stages irrespective of their economic or social status. Paragraph 2. World Health Organization or WHO identifies adolescence as the period in human growth and development that occurs after childhood and before adulthood. This phase represents one of the critical transitions in one's lifespan and is characterized by fast-paced growth and change, which are second only to those at infancy. Biological processes drive many aspects of this growth and development, with the onset of puberty marking the passage from childhood to adolescence. The biological determinants of adolescence are fairly universal. However, the duration and defining characteristics of this period may vary across time, cultures, and socio-economic situations. This period has seen many changes over the past century. Puberty, for example, comes earlier than before. People marry late, and their sexual attitudes and behaviors are different from their grandparents or even parents. Among the factors responsible for the change are education, urbanization, and spread of global communication. Paragraph number 3. The time of adolescence is a period of preparation for adulthood, during which one experiences several key developments. Besides physical and sexual maturation, these experiences include movement towards social and economic independence, development of identity, the acquisition of skills needed to carry out adult relationships and roles, and the capacity for abstract reasoning. While adolescence is a time of tremendous growth and potential, it is also a time of considerable risks, during which social context exert powerful influences. Paragraph number 4. Many adolescents face pressure to use alcohol, cigarettes, or other drugs and to initiate sexual relationships, putting themselves at high risk for intentional and unintentional injuries. Unintended pregnancies and sexual transmitted infections, STIs, including the human immunodeficiency virus or HIV. Many also experience a wide range of adjustment and mental health problems. Behavior patterns that are established during this period, such as the use of avoidance of drugs and taking or abstaining from sexual risk, can have understanding complex concepts, or the relationship between behavior and consequences, or the degree of control they have or can have over health decision making, including that related to sexual behavior. This inability may make them particularly vulnerable to sexual exploitation and high-risk behaviors. Laws, customs, and practices may also affect adolescents differently than adults. For example, laws and policies often restrict adolescents' access to reproductive health information and services, especially when they are unmarried. In addition, even when services do exist, provider attitudes about adolescents often pose a significant barrier to the use of those services. Last paragraph. Adolescents depend on their families, their communities, schools, health services, and their workplaces to learn a wide range of skills that can help them to cope with the pressures they face and make a successful transition from childhood to adulthood. Parents, members of the community, service providers, and social institutions have the responsibility to both promote adolescent development and adjustment and to intervene effectively when problems arise. Now, we shall match the words in column A with the meanings in column B in the following table below. So, the words in column A are adolescence, determinants, acquisition, tremendous, exert, consequence, vulnerable, intervene, and transition. And the meanings in column B are extraordinarily large in size, extent, amount, power, or degree. Something that logically or naturally follows from an action or condition. To become involved in something such as a conflict in order to have an influence on what happens. The period of physical and psychological development from the onset of puberty to maturity. Susceptible to injury or disease. A change from one thing to the next, either in action or state of being. The act of acquiring or gaining possession. A factor or cause that makes something happen or leads directly to a decision. To put forth effort to do something. So now, let us do the mathing. First of all, adolescence means the period of physical and psychological development from the onset of puberty to maturity. Word number 2, determinants means a factor or cause that makes something happen or leads directly to a decision. Thirdly, acquisition means the act of acquiring or gaining possession. Number 4, tremendous means extraordinarily large in size, extent, amount, power, or degree. Exert means to put forth effort to do something. Then consequence means something that logically or naturally follows from an action or condition. Word number 7, vulnerable means susceptible to injury or disease. The next word, intervene, means to become involved in something such as a conflict in order to have an influence on what happens. And the last word, transition, means a change from one thing to the next, either in action or state of being. Now, we have some questions to answer. A. What changes are experienced by the adolescent youths? B. What are some of the potential health risks faced by the adolescents? C. How are the adolescents different from children and adults? D. What role society and